death penalty should be abolished because it is a heinous, premeditated act of murder by the state. It is cruel because of drugs using lethal injection, Pavlov, can paralyze inmates to the point where they are unable to communicate any pain they are feeling. It is unusual because the state is killing killers who show that killing is wrong, and a simple new policy would generate savings up to billions of dollars. Our society should no longer push this issue aside. Therefore, I will argue that it is time to pass today's debate proposition. The United States should abolish the death penalty. My significance claim, specifically the need argument, which is a claim of fact, is that the death penalty is very costly. Judge Arthur Alarcon, the senior judge in Los Angeles County Deputy District Attorney, and Paula M. Mitchell, professor at Loyola Law School, came out with a book in summer 2011 called Executing the Will of the Voters, which supports my first claim that California spends a substantial amount of money on the death penalty, and in the book it states, since reinstating the death penalty in 1978, California taxpayers have spent roughly $4 billion to fund a dysfunctional death penalty that carried out no more than 13 executions. For my subpoint B, which states that other states also have to spend a substantial amount of money on the death penalty. For example, PhD John Roman, the executive director of the District of Columbia Crime Policy Institution, wrote in March 2008 in Research Report titled The Cost of Death Penalty in Maryland. Between 1978 and 1999, there were 56 cases resulting in the death sentence. In these cases, it will cost Maryland citizens $107.3 million over the lifetime of these cases. In addition, the 106 that did not result in the death sentence are projected to cost Maryland taxpayers an additional $71 million. In addition, the Maryland Capital Defense Division costs $72 million. Thus, we forecast that the lifetime cost of capitally prosecuted cases will cost Maryland taxpayers $186 million. For my analysis, Mary Forsberg, Research Director for New Jersey Policy Perspective, has research called Money for Nothing, the Financial Cost of New Jersey Death Penalty, in November 2005. From a strictly financial perspective, it is hard to reach a conclusion other than this. New Jersey taxpayers spent over the past 23 years have paid more than $250 million on capital punishment system that has executed no one. In the DPIC Facts About the Death Penalty, updated May 30, 2012, it states that in Kansas, the cost of capital cases are 70% more expensive than comparable non-capital cases, including the cost of incarceration. In Florida, DPIC states that enforcing the death penalty costs Florida $51 million a year above what it would cost to punishment all first-degree murders with life imprisonment without parole. Based on 44 executions Florida has carried out since 1976, that amounts to a cost of $24 million for each execution. Moving on to the source of the problem. The death penalty is unduly costly because capital trials are lengthy and a tedious process, and also because the housing convicted homicide offenders in death row is extremely costly. A report called The Hidden Death Tax, Secret Cost of Seeking Executions in California, a report by ACLU of Northern California, and Natasha Minsker, death penalty policy director, supports my subclaim that each death row inmate costs the state a significant amount of more money than the prison inmates. And it states that the largest single expense is the extra cost of simply housing people on death row. $90,000 more per year per inmate, more than housing in general prison populations. According to Florida Department of Corrections, the average number of years an inmate spent in death row was 948 divided by 73, which is 13 years per person. Multiply 13 and 90,000, which is $1,170,000, and you get how much more expensive DP trials are than non-DP trials. Robert Waterhouse's case lasted 31 years. It was $2,790,000 more expensive to house Robert than it would have been to throw him in prison for life. As of July 2011, according to ACLU, more than 3,200 inmates were in death row. According to the DPIC, death penalty trials cost $1.1 more million than non-death penalty trials. Also, they state that we spend at least $22 million more per year on DP trials compared to non-DP trials. When one is on death row, they have lawyers who will be constantly reviewing the cases, which will delay the process. This means there will be more trials and more money spent by the state who has to pay the district attorneys. My solvency claim is the abolishment of the death penalty and the substitution with life imprisonment will decrease costs drastically. Senior research affiliate at George Mason University and author of Weighing the Cost of Capital Punishment versus Life in Prison Without Parole, Michael Burke, states in spring 2007, every state mentioned in the state had capital trials that far exceeded the cost of life incarceration trials. According to the table in North Carolina, life sentence would save $163,000 per case. Indiana picked the number a bit lower at $116,000. This piece of my evidence supports my subpoint A claim that the abolishment of the death penalty would save the states a lot of money. Like I said earlier, adopting a maximum penalty of life without possibility of parole is only a fraction of the death penalty cost. Subpoint B, California will save a substantial amount of money in executing the will of the voters by Judge Arthur Alarcon and Paula M. Mitchell. It is evident that narrowing the death penalty scope initially will save an immediate net saving of at least $55 million per year. This initiative would result in reducing the number of death penalty trials by about half, saving taxpayers an estimated $20 million per year. Additionally, reducing the death row population to those whose death judgment is based on one or more of these 5 special circumstances, assuming the governor were to commute those sentenced to life imprisonment without the possibility of parole, would immediately reduce the size of California's death row by half, which would save taxpayers over $35 million per year in death row housing costs and $27 million per year in direct appeals and state habeas corpus costs. My plan of action is to replace the death penalty with life imprisonment without parole.
Thank you.